Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm Jodie, and this week we are judging the juiciest Reddit stories from r/am I the a-hole, with boyfriends who are trying to teach their girlfriends to be a little bit more obedient, to husbands who are asking their wives if they can switch their happy relationship to a polyamorous one. So stick around and let's get into it. And our first story is titled, I got this message from my boyfriend after a disagreement and now I don't know what to do. Am I the asshole? We had a disagreement, and then he sent me this post he found on Facebook. I honestly don't know what to say to it. I feel disrespected, a little scared, and like nothing I say can soften the tension or even be heard. I tried to explain that I just want to be met with mutual respect during disagreements, but he just replied by sending me screenshots of parts of the post, as if my response is only proving him right. Here's what he messaged me. The woman who can't be led will eventually lead you to ruin. She wanted a man who could lead, but the moment you tried to lead, she fought you, questioned you, resisted you. She confused leadership with domination, discipline with control, direction with ego. And now you're exhausted, because trying to lead an unleadable woman is like steering a ship with a hole in the bottom. It sounds like this man has a hole in the head. Let's break it down. 1. She thinks equality means rebellion. The moment you set a boundary, she calls you insecure. The moment you make a decision, she accuses you of controlling her. She wants leadership, she can edit. Followship, she can pause. But legacy doesn't grow in power struggles, it grows under structure. 2. She submits only when it's convenient. In public, she calls you her king. In private, she mocks your leadership. She agrees when the stakes are low, but when real direction is needed, she argues, undermines, and stalls. If your leadership only works when it's optional, then it's not respected, it's tolerated. 3. She uses emotion to disrupt order. You lay out the plan, she lays out her feelings. She doesn't attack your ideas with logic, she attacks them with tears. Every time you stand firm, she cries you down, guilts you into silence. A woman who can't separate her emotions from your leadership will drag the entire house into emotional warfare. 4. She confuses loudness with strength. She calls herself strong, but what she really is loud. Volume is not vision. Stubbornness is not wisdom. She talks over you, mocks your opinions, and then wonders why you've pulled away. A woman who demands to lead but won't accept correction is a danger to any legacy. Well, I really hope that people like this are not procreating. 5. She wants the benefits of male leadership without the submission it requires. She wants you to A. protect her, B. provide for her, and C. cover her. But when you ask for her alignment, she calls it oppression. She thinks submission is slavery. But what she doesn't realize is that rebellion is expensive. It costs peace, it costs protection, and eventually it costs a relationship. 6. You can't lead a woman who trusts her feelings more than your vision. Every decision becomes a debate. Every disagreement becomes a disaster. She doesn't trust your leadership because she's ruled by emotion, and emotion will always sabotage direction. You'll spend your life trying to drag her into destiny while she pulls both of you back into dysfunction. Ladies, are you still keeping up? Because I'm starting to feel a little bit icky reading this. 7. Leadership is a burden, and she'll make you pay for carrying it. She wants a leader until leadership gets heavy, until you make the hard call, until you say no. Then suddenly you're the villain. She wants the comfort of your strength, but not the discipline of your decisions. That's not a helpmate, that's a hindrance. Final word. The woman who cannot be led will lead you to ruin. Not because she's evil, but because she's undisciplined. And undisciplined people destroy structured lives. You weren't built to beg for cooperation. You weren't designed to debate every command. If she can't follow, she can't build. If she needs to compete, she can't submit. And if you ignore this truth, you'll spend your life steering a ship that's destined to sink. Well, if it is going to sink, please make sure that he is tied to the helm. Don't fall for the beauty, test for alignment, because beauty may attract you, but only submission can multiply you. I don't even know how to process this. Am I the asshole for feeling like this is a bit too much? Should I just ignore it, or am I overthinking and being rebellious like he claims? No, based on the evidence that we have in front of us, I do not think that you are being the arsehole. And what you should do is leave him. As blunt as it is, I don't think that people like this deserve to be in a relationship. They don't deserve to take your time or your energy, or for you to look after them and care for them. They don't deserve you to submit. And I don't know when that word started becoming the buzzword for these type of people. But it's funny because when I read stuff like this, I'm not envisioning this strong man who comes home and supports the household and pays the bills and makes sure that everybody is well looked after. I see a sad, pathetic person attempting to be a man. And until they've given their head a bit of a wobble, they really don't deserve anybody to give their time or energy to them. But yes, you are not the a-hole in this situation. Please run as far as you can, and let's see what the comments are saying. Okay. The first comment is literally, OMG, run like the wind. And I can't believe he actually sent you that red flag city. And someone said, I think most definitely he is not like what he sent her, but who he wants to be. There are all of these groups on Facebook of men who believe this, and they deeply want women to believe it and follow it too. It's just a giant echo chamber of them all talking about how terrible modern women are and how amazing it would be if women just let them do whatever 24/7. Her boyfriend is hopping on the pipeline and he's going to be an incel very soon. And that's it, because the women that are trying to let these people know that, hey, that's probably not a good idea, and actually that's not going to be conducive for a healthy relationship, and we are not going to be happy if I do as you ask and submit to your every demand, because that's just not modern relationships, and it's never really worked in the past. So me submitting to you is not what we need right now. And then it feeds into everything that they have been told, and they go, oh yeah, well, she's the problem. And then when men come out and say, hey, look guys, this isn't ideal and you really shouldn't be treating women that way, well, they're beta males and, again, fall into everything that they've been told to kind of work hard against being. And it is just this terrible, abysmal slide that they are all going down. And trust me, at the end of it is not going to be your goddess waiting for you in a bikini with a sandwich. So please come back to reality. And somebody said, yes, this is one of the unfortunate aspects of the internet. Weirdos, psychopaths, and deviants find each other and suddenly normalize their behavior. OP, if I were you, I would close the door on this relationship and never look back. You will regret it if you don't. And there's nothing more to say, really. Not every man is like that, and not every man expects you to submit. And with that, let's get on to our second one. And our second story is, am I the asshole for telling my wife she makes travelling no fun? So I'm just going to jump right in there and say, yes, you are. Before we go any further, if I read anything about singing too loudly, or putting their feet on the dashboard, or gasping every time the car 3 cars ahead brakes, or having her head in front of the side mirror that you need, that will be it, and you are the a-hole. However, I shall read on. So my wife, 38 female, and I, 36 male, have been together 8 years. We live in my home state of Arkansas. She is from San Diego. Every year she wants to visit home. We used to fly, but since we had a kid, 2 years old, she now wants to drive. I have no problem using all my vacation days for this. She lives here. Traveling is a pain because she overpacks. Used to fill my CX-7 full, but work gave me a $900 car allowance, and we used that to get a full-size Suburban. This time, she loaded that full. I mean front passengers to the ceiling so I can't see the mirrors full. Strike one. We didn't use hardly any of it. Every stop I carried everything into the hotel because she was afraid it would get stolen. It's 3 days each way. Goodness, you always forget how big America is. I think the longest drive I've ever done in the UK is 9 hours top to bottom. So 3 days is a long stint. Got through it, told her she makes travelling miserable because she is also super late. Tell her 10 a.m, she might arrive by noon. So every day we don't leave the hotel until 12. Then she insists that we drive until midnight. Unfun. I mean, everybody's got to love a good road trip, but that is pushing it a little bit. Anyway, this weekend I was sent on a work conference. They got me a sweet hotel room, week at a nice resort, super excited. We were going to go and leave the baby, day before she cancels my mum watching to bring our child. Fills the suburban full again. Mind you, it's my work trip, 5 days, 5 nights. Most of the stuff was just overpacking. She brought a tote of blankets, one of towels, 2 of her clothes. Totes. I told her she makes it miserable. The hotel always gets cluttered and full. The night before we leave is always a mess trying to pack. And her organising stuff she brought that never gets used. She freaked out, told me I just want to hook up and cheat at these things. I invited her, and she is filing for a divorce because I told her, you're overpacking and insisting we fill every vehicle full and always being late makes me miserable. We were 3 hours late leaving to get to the conference, so I missed the networking opening night, which is where in my industry people tend to click up afterwards to a degree. I missed going to the best vendor events, etc., because she insisted that I don't leave because she was overwhelmed with how messy the hotel room was. Mind you, it was all the stuff she brought, took out of the totes, and never used. And then the toddler destroyed. Am I the asshole? No, I've changed my mind. You are not the asshole here. I would much prefer to do the 2-hour plane journey with a child than a 3-day trip to get to the destination. Surely that's the easiest option. I mean, I've seen mothers with 3 children under 10 get on a plane with 3 booster seats and 6 cases of luggage, so it is doable. Not easy, but it's doable. But look, it does seem like she's maybe dealing with some bigger issues here, especially if her first jump was to accuse you of cheating for wanting to just do the trip on your own. I think that there's definitely some insecurities that maybe need addressing there. But anyway, there is edits. Okay, this must be based on the comments. So, yes, I am involved in raising our child. I actually packed for our trip. I had 1 bag for the baby to go to mum's, toys, diapers, food, etc., a big bag, but 1 large suitcase. I had a bag packed for wife and 1 for me. 2, yes, she had ADHD. 3, she always says she doesn't want to do this, then trip comes and she does it. 4, I am not a cheater. She accused me of it last time I went solo. I am exhausted. If she left me, I think I would be done with relationships. My own mental health is wrecked. My boss wasn't mad. He found the whole thing hilarious when I told him. He skipped half of the conference himself. My job wasn't threatened, but to me it was. 6, I tried the whole packing thing for her and me. I have tried to just accept her issues, but it's gotten worse. When we first got together, it was she needed a large checked bag for a 2-day trip to Las Vegas. Now she needs an entire Suburban for a week trip. One of the issues is the vehicle is so full. If it was just the back, I might be able to deal, but it is so full I can't even see the side mirror. I've expressed how unsafe that is, and she doesn't care. She just yells, I don't understand. 8, yes, she comes from a hoarder background. I mean, it's tough. I mean, no, you're not the arsehole here. I understand that she's clearly dealing with things, but if that comes at the expense of your peace and your job and your happiness, then maybe go and see a therapist together so you can talk through these things. I'm not sure how easy that would be, but you might be able to unpack some of the issues here. And the top comments are agreeing, not the asshole. Personally, I think your wife is crazy pants for wanting to drive 20 plus hours both ways between San Diego and Arkansas with a 2-year-old instead of flying. I've made that trip twice without kids and it was torture. I feel like she's making it harder for you to travel, not easier. The bottom line is that she went with you on a work trip, made you late, accused you of wanting to cheat, and threatened to divorce you. None of those things are okay. But by the sound of things, she lacks self-awareness and self-regulation and seems to self-soothe in immature ways that no longer serve her. But she has clearly established deep habits around her behaviours that are simply maladaptive attempts to cope. A therapist worth her salt would discern these things, but she may struggle to reveal what she truly struggles with or needs to work on via self-disclosure. So, if there is a way that you could find a way to join a session of hers to share your experience, or take couples sessions that allows you to introduce these issues as you see them, and then your couples counsellor sees each of you individually, it would complement the work and allow you to feel supported as well. Very well said. The things that you might focus on would be up to you to disclose and work on, but the clear resentment that you have developed needs to be explored. And if anything connects to your frustration around expressing yourself only to be ignored, is at least a good starting point. And we'll end on the perfect comment. Talk to her with honesty and love. It's so simple. See if she's feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, etc. Tell her what you're thinking. This isn't about travelling, it's about her mental health. A good primary care doctor could assist her with getting access to mental health resources that would help her. Best wishes to you both. Very well said. And let's get on to our final story. And our final story is, would I be the asshole if I divorced my husband just for asking to be polyamorous? This is really upsetting to me on all accounts, and I'm getting mixed opinions from the few real people I've talked to about it, so I could use the advice of total strangers. I, 26 female, and my husband, 27 male, have been married for just over a year and together for 4. We spent a long time before getting married talking about what we wanted out of being married, so I thought we were on the same page about all of the important things. I do love him very much. He is sweet, helpful, and generally my dream partner until last week. Out of the blue, he sat down one night and said he wanted to talk about something. I thought it was just something minor he was frustrated about, or a bad day at work or something. Instead, he talked about how he found out that his best guy friend and his wife are polyamorous. He and his friend have been talking about it more, and he thinks he might like to try it, and wondered what I thought. I felt instantly sick to my stomach. We've always had a great sex life, and he's never given me any reason to think that he was interested in anyone else. I told him that I'm not interested in being in a polyamorous relationship. I want to be monogamous with him for the rest of my life. If it had stopped there, I don't think it would have gotten so bad. But then he asked if I would read about it and then decide. I said no. I already know how I feel about it. He asked if I would at least think about it, and for some reason that just did something to me, like instant revulsion kind of upset. I got up and told him that I was too upset to keep talking and that I needed some space, so I would sleep in the guest room that night and we could talk later. Ever since that night, I have the biggest ick anytime I see him. He keeps trying to backtrack, but I know he meant what he said about wanting to be polyamorous. It's not so much that he brought it up, it's the 2 other asks after I already said I would never be comfortable with it. It's like that didn't matter to him. He thought he could convince me, and it makes me feel awful. What else is he going to pressure me about if I say no? And if he already wants to sleep with somebody else, how can I ever trust him not to do it behind my back? I'm still sleeping in the guest room, and I'm thinking of just asking for a divorce now, when it would be simpler to divide everything up and go our separate ways, instead of waiting until years down the line when I get my heart broken. He could do whatever he wants, and I could find somebody who just wants a good, solid, monogamous relationship with me. The idea is killing me, but I feel like it's going to hurt now, no matter what I do. While I do still love him, I don't think I can ever unhear or unsee my husband asking for me to be in an open relationship, and the idea of him touching me makes me feel ill. He's upset and frustrated that I'm punishing him for asking a question, but I honestly don't know what he expected to happen. Right, like it's not asking if you want to go for Greek food or Thai food. You've literally asked your wife if they would be okay with you sleeping with somebody else. So no, I don't think it's the same thing, and it is not going to be a very easy thing to get past. There is part of me that thinks that maybe divorcing him is being a bit over dramatic, but also the ick is so strong that I don't have much hope of getting back to where we are. Am I the asshole? As we all know, once you get the ick, that's it really. There's not much you can do about it. And it's so frustrating because you're already married. You both went into this knowing what you wanted this to be, and I'm sure that was a monogamous relationship. And so it must be such a terrible feeling for all of a sudden your partner to change their mind and now want to be with other people, but also with you at the same time. But what it sounds like is not a polyamorous relationship that they're looking for. They just want an open relationship. They want to sleep with somebody else, whether they've already met that person, but does he really understand what goes into being poly? And that also means that you get to be with other people. And not only that, but the work it takes to be in a successful polyamorous relationship is huge. That takes so much trust, so much commitment, so much communication in what it is that you're both doing and how you're doing it, that, again, is he really prepared for that? Because it doesn't sound like it. Gosh, this has got a lot of replies. I'm reading through them as best as I can. I'm going to take the advice to get an STI test, and my gyno is going to work me in today for that. I don't think he would physically cheat, but better safe than sorry. I do think there's probably somebody he's interested in, possibly his friend's wife or maybe even his friend. He's never expressed being bisexual, but that doesn't mean he isn't. I don't know them very well, so I can't speculate on their role in all of this. I'm going to be charitable and assume that this isn't from their end, and he just picked this up from his friend and ran with it. I want to be clear that I'm not ignoring him. We can talk about whatever else is going on, but I'm not ready to continue the conversation with him, and he knows that. I want to be calm for that, and his behaviour is not really conducive to a sense of calm right now. Every time he brings it up makes me a little more disgusted with him, but he seems intent on digging the hole instead of letting things settle. That, and not taking the first no for an answer, is a bigger issue than the poly ask for me. I completely forgot about that. He brought it up, you said no. Honestly, if he wants to move forward, that should be the end of it. I think I'm going to meet with a lawyer just to go over options. At this point, I don't have a lot of faith in counselling changing how I feel about him now, but I would be willing to try a few sessions to say we've given it a shot. I'll throw that out here tonight and see what he says. Man, that's so tough, because imagine just like that, everything changes because they got some weird idea in their head and they were excited and now they've ruined everything. I mean, I hope for his sake that it is something that he would like to explore and be involved in the future. And if that is it, great. Do we wish he had come to this a little bit sooner? Yes. But if that is the way that he feels and he wants to move into polyamorous relationships, or just open relationships, or just sleep with other people, well, it looks like he's going to be free to do so very soon. There's another edit. He doesn't think counselling is necessary. He just wants to go back to the way things were before bringing it up. I told him that that's not an option. You can't unbreak a bone, it has to be healed instead. I asked him if he had someone in mind and he said no, but he's not a very good liar and I don't really believe him. He says it was just an idea and there's no one and nothing has happened, but he also doesn't want to show me the messages between him and his friend so I can understand the content of the conversations they had. I will respect his choice, but it's enough to convince me that there's something he's hiding, even if it's not an affair in progress, and that's a problem. I mean, there it is right there. If he's not willing to even show you messages between him and his friend, how does he think a polyamorous relationship is going to work? I've got an appointment with a lawyer in a few days, and I'm going to take a short trip alone to see my grandparents this weekend to get some fresh air and perspective. I'll try to update next week after all the test results come back and I've had a chance to look at all the facts with a professional. Thank you for your kind support and advice. As always, you've got to love Reddit for coming in strong here, because I think it can be easy to think that you're not being open-minded enough and maybe you should be more progressive in your thoughts. And I mean, like she said, she was being over-dramatic about wanting a divorce, but you know in yourself, and I'm sure that all of the comments are going to say the same thing, is this isn't what you signed up for, and there's no turning back from here. But if you're in a monogamous relationship and somebody even breathes the thought of introducing somebody else into your relationship, if you haven't explicitly said that that's something that you're willing to do, is a kick in the teeth. Let's see what the comments have to say. Not the asshole. I don't think it's overdramatic to get out of a contract you signed with another person when they are trying to change the terms a year into it. That's a powerful way to say it, and it takes the emotional side out of the picture enough to realise it makes perfect sense. That, and the fact that if your husband gives you the ick, it's obviously over, plain as day. People who suddenly decide that they want this lifestyle, once they do it, it's not uncommon for people to split after anyway. He has already made his decision anyway by telling her one of three things will usually happen. He obeys her wishes, but then resentment starts to build because he can't do what he wants. 2, he cheats on her. 3, OP reluctantly agrees, all the while gets sick to her stomach knowing some other woman is getting nailed by her husband. I don't usually advocate for divorce, but in this scenario, staying will be so much worse. Man or woman, I really hate it when friends put wild ideas in our partners' heads that have the potential to tear a relationship apart. Look, and the bottom line is, usually what happens is she decides to give it a go, has a lot more success than he does because men are much more interested in a just sex, you are the side piece relationship. Then he gets all upset that she is having outside sex too and he wants to close things up again. Then they divorce, better just get on with the divorce at this point. There are certain things that just can't be looked past. And like they said, you signed a contract based on certain terms, and those terms changed. And so you're well within your rights to want to back out of it. Anyway, I think that we've got an update on this one. And the update is divorcing my husband for asking to be polyamorous. A lot of people wanted an update, and I've made some difficult decisions. I took advice from the thread and got an STI panel done. Fortunately, it came back clear. I suggested counselling, but my husband does not think it's necessary. I doubt it will change my feelings, so I'm not going to push for it. He is being overly protective of his phone after I asked to see a message conversation between him and his poly friend to understand the context of the situation. I would not violate his privacy, but there's clearly something he doesn't want me to see, and that's enough. It doesn't matter to me whether it's something already in progress or just a desire for there to be. The shadiness of his behaviour tells me what I need to know. I've been tempted to contact his friends directly to get their take, but in the event there is infidelity happening, I would rather not burden myself with the details, to be honest. I had a heart-to-heart with my grandparents this weekend and spoke with a lawyer yesterday. As of right now, I'm planning to move forward with the divorce, with no kids and no joint property or debt, since we are waiting on buying a house till I'm finished with residency. It should be easy to split the financials. The lease on our apartment is up in a couple of months anyway, so I plan to move out after breaking the news and just pay my portion of the rent on the current place until it's renewal time. I'm heartbroken, but I'm convinced that this is the best move. I don't trust him anymore. I'm repulsed by his behaviour since the ask, and I think it's best to cut our losses before digging the hole deeper. If he was willing to be transparent and do something to work on re-establishing trust, it would be different. But that's not the case, and I don't want to put in the effort that he's not interested in putting in. I will be fine with time. So yeah, not a happy ending, but I think it's in my best overall interest, and if he's not happy with monogamy a year into marriage, his best interest as well. Hopefully we can part ways quietly and without a lot of fuss. I mean, it's shocking, but you're making the right decision here. Like you said, doesn't seem like he's willing to commit to working on things, and look, as terrible as it sounds, that could have been the reason that he brought it up. He wants to be with other people, and maybe he knew it was going to push you over the edge. It sounds horrible to think about, but you really never know. If you said yes, bonus, and if not, well, he's free to do whatever he wants. Is he going to regret it? Probably. But like you said, you're going to be absolutely fine after all of this. With time, you will be okay, and you can find somebody that wants the same things that you do. And again, I think he seriously underestimates the work that goes into a working polyamorous relationship. I couldn't do it, and hats off to anybody who does it successfully, because you really need to be super open with your partner, and there would be no, hiding messages from each other and not knowing where they are, who they're with. That's part of being polyamorous. It's not an open relationship, it's multiple relationships. And for that to work takes so much commitment and time. So it seems like you did the right thing here. And with that, thank you for sticking around. Let me know in the comments what you thought. And if you do have a story of your own to tell, there are instructions in the description box below. So thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.